Hey, hope everyone was able to make it over to the new stream all right. I gotta press a few buttons here, and we'll get back to building. Hey, Luigi.
Hey, what's up?
I have to get some headphones on here so I can hear you.
Yeah, same.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome.
Picture looks clear too. Yes, we are back.
Yay. First back.
Oh man, now I'm completely distracted and have no idea what I was doing.
Yeah, same for me, because I worked on the track. Like, I got all my gear on my desk and tried to do something audio stuff. And I received my vaccine shot today.
Ooh, how you feeling?
Actually, pretty okay now. I think I have mildly higher temperature than usual. And I've been really tired today, except for now, because now the day is over and now I would have to sleep, but now I'm not tired at all.
Yeah, it seems like it takes a few hours for it to really, for you to really feel it. You don't get that 5G reception all at once.
Yeah.
You got any new tracks? You said you were working on one. You got anything ready that you can play?
Yeah, I mean, I still have my setup, but I would have to reconnect my sampler, I think. And my... hang on. And I have to reconnect my keyboard thingy. But yeah, I could actually play some.
Well, I was just thinking you might have recorded it and you could press play, but if you want to play live, that's even cooler.
Yeah, I mean, I now that I have my good internet connection, I can actually play live, so why not? But can you hear this? Ah, I can. Aha, there we go. Can you?
I can hear your voice, but nothing else.
Interesting. And now? How about now?
Nothing. Just your voice. There we go. Yep.
I kind of tried to do something with nature sounds, because I pre-recorded something in the park.
Why does this have such small solder pads on it? I swear designers just hate the end user. Yeah, this one just doesn't want to work. Hey, player 2, can you up your output a little bit?
Sure. Like that?
It's still the same. That's good.
All right. Let me try something.
Well, these solder pads are being fucking annoying. If they would just add a small separation on the ground pad so that you didn't have to heat up an entire massive ground plane just to solder one tiny little piece.
I think I have not shown on my on the last stream. I have something funny that I made. I mean, it's not much. I just actually took a piezo and soldered RCA connectors on it. Like, this is a piezo with
making yourself a noisy cricket.
No, actually a microphone.
Ah, nice, yeah. Sure, a pickup mic.
And it sounds really trashy, but my intention for it was to, against the face tracking thing, to wear my big respirator and put this on it. And with the big respirator, it actually works quite okay.
Yeah, I mean those are fun to play with. Used to take them in. How do we do that? We'd sandwich the piezo between two bottle caps. We make a bottle cap mic, and then that I think we would just like tape it to the side of like a guitar to make an electric pickup.
Yeah.
What other got any other tracks you've been working on? Something that
you can also
maybe won't
like
put me to sleep.
Chords, and it will record or pick up the voice from your vocal cords directly.
Like a contact mic.
Yeah. Yeah, like contact mics are actually just piezos. But
Can you wire in the mic right now and demonstrate it?
Yeah, sure.
All right. For anyone following along still, which I doubt anyone is, I barely am. I've got the camera soldered on, motors are soldered on, power leads soldered on. That just leaves the receiver and video transmitter. All right, and we got someone else that's going to join us too. Nice.
Okay.
That sounds interesting. Try with less pressure on it. Try less pressure. It's a lot clearer with less pressure on it. That's pretty funny sign. Do you have it taped on? You're gonna have to watch this back a little bit later on. Alright. You know, if you could mix in some of the microphone from like your normal mic and mix in some of this one. Yeah, look who's talking, Blasta.
Obscure mic. I can get my. Sounds really nasty. Of the microphone, if you drop it on the table or something, it's like. Definitely.
Oh yeah, it's loud.
I have my respirator somewhere around, so I can maybe show you how that sounds if you actually put this inside. Hang on.
Lead the way. I like that. It's a good username. How y'all doing tonight? Afternoon, morning, good evening. Hey, Aeon. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Hey, player 2.
Yeah, welcome. In your mouth. So, what do you got going?
Tonight, I am filling in this Bandolero frame, the Bot AFX frame.
Nice.
That's on my agenda, and I also got whatever you're building there.
Oh, you got the dragon frog?
Not quite, but it is one of the Dave C. replicants.
Oh,
of
yeah.
nature.
I'll tell you what, I actually canceled that order because as soon as I saw how god-awful the thing was, I was like, well, I think I'd rather build my own.
Yeah.
Because the one they built is complete trash and doesn't fly, which, like, his design is so good and it's so well thought out. Like, how did they screw it up so badly? Plus, they make all the other recon drones that are, like, really popular and look like they fly really good. It's kind of a shame, you know?
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the components that he put in and he put together and the way it flew. It should have been better than that, but it wasn't, you know?
Well,
But
I mean, I can tell you some of it. Like, I have the same video transmitter. That's what's going in this quad. The same one that they put on that, right? It's actually really good. The thing looks really good. It cannot work off 1S. It works while the battery's at like 80% down, you know, like when you hit like 3.7 volts, 3.75, the video pretty much just drops out. Like you just get all this static and it's not usable. And I don't think that they've got any kind of voltage booster in there. So I don't know how that's even working at all.
Well, apparently, I was given a parts list to a low pass filter, I think it is, or a LC filter, something like that, and a step up. So I think it goes from like whatever to 7 volts.
So it does have a step up in it.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. Because see, I didn't see one in the, the one that was shipping. In his build, it has one. Which I have. You can't see off camera here, but I have a pile of parts that kind of stacked on top of each other. I have the voltage converter that he used in his build, right. But I don't think it's the same as the one that they used in the one that they shipped. But it's actually pretty decent, and it takes as low as like 1.1 volts and steps it up to 5 volts.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of like, do you remember the Jewel Thief? The LED, it was like, so you could keep an LED running off any power supply for a really long time.
No, the one,
yeah, people would like stick them on the side of a bridge, and it caused there was like a bomb scare because of it. Because someone had like a glowing LED on the side of a bridge. Yeah, the Jewel Thief. So it's basically a Jewel Thief circuit board in just a ready-made package that's super cheap, and it's super tiny too. It didn't even register on my gram scale. Here's one right here. Here it is. Not gonna be able to see much of anything. Tiny little square. That's it. It's a 1 centimeter square. It's fairly thick, but that's it. Just this little board here. And it's funny too. It's only meant to boost voltage, but it will buck as well. I plugged this thing into a 2S battery. I wasn't even thinking. I just like wired it up to one of my old quads, and it was a 2S. So 7 something volts, 8 volts, fully charged. And this thing output a nice steady 5 volts and powered my camera and VTX. No problem. It got extremely hot though. Extremely hot. But turns out it will buck as well as boost. So that's kind of neat.
Neat. I don't make the same mistake I did. When you do these small drones, you got to get good parts, because when I did it, I may have melted. Like, you can see a little bit of it. It's not very good, but I melted a little bit of the bottom where one of those was resting, like a little buck thing. So,
yeah. This thing, it doesn't get too hot when it's boosting. It was only when it was bucking, which it's not, made to do. And then I've got this other one here, which is the iFlight. It does 5 volt 3 amp or 12 volt 2 amp output, depending if you solder a little jumper or not. By default, it's 5 volts though. And this thing takes like 5 to 36 volt input. So pretty good range on it. I've used these on a couple other builds. I bought it like a 3-pack of them. Pretty handy as well. This one's a little bigger, weighs a little bit more, but this is a buck converter. So this was actually intended to do that. And this will be going on this 3-inch. This will be powering up. Well, we'll see. I might not even need it, because I don't remember if this thing needs 5 volt. Yeah, it's 5 volt only. I don't know what the output is on this flight controller I got, what its 5 volt stage can handle, because it's already going to be powering my camera, although the camera could connect directly to the battery voltage since it is tolerant up to whatever, 20 something volts. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how it all works out. I didn't exactly plan this thing. I just kind of had a pile of parts, and yeah, that's how I usually do it.
I highly recommend, if you do go to buy a couple of the, like, the buck converters and the pass filters and stuff, buy a handful of them, because you never know when somebody else, like a friend, is going to use the project, or you never know when you, rip a pad from soldering it too hot or anything. Pick up 2 or 3.
Oh yeah, I've got 4 or 5 of each of these things.
Oh, nice.
Even the flight controller, I've got 2 of them. So I heard that they tend to burn out pretty easily, and figure I might as well just have one in stock.
Right.
Although it's a 20 amp ESCs, motors that max at draw at I think 12 amps. So I'm not too worried about it burning out.
Okay.
But you never know what might happen. You get stuck in a tree like I did on the last one.
Yeah. That turtle mode takes it out of you.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much just there was no way I was getting this thing down from the tree on with any other means. It was way up there. So I figured even if I burn up the ESC, at least I'll get the rest of it back. And unfortunately it did, which was this little this board. Yeah, a little all-in-one. This came from the Crux 3. It's really a shame that this one burned out, though, because it had a really nice video signal, and overall it was very nice. But I mean, it's only 6 amp ESCs, and what do you expect? Those things just go.
Maybe you can get a cheap drone and get the other one out of the tree with a cheap drone.
Oh, I got it out. I just kept working those motors back and forth until it cut away the branches and fell out.
You haven't got to throw your shoe at it yet?
Yeah, it was too high for that. It was too dense, too far up there. Another time I had it stuck in a different tree, I just threw this at it, the whole bag. Just, that was all I had around that was heavy. It was dense. I didn't want to get something small stuck in the tree. I figured there's no way the bag's getting stuck. So I just threw the whole thing up into the tree until it knocked it out. Which was extra funny because there was like a couple people standing nearby watching me do this.
The walk of shame and getting stuck in a tree. Yep. Player 2, you look like you've had a tracheotomy, my friend. Is that the word?
Like I had what?
One of those. Yeah,
Got the voice box installed.
Oh yeah. I have coconut tape. Just some inner tape.
It's completely unintelligible. Cannot hear what you're saying.
But it's crazy how good it does work.
I mean, yeah, it's just a piezo though.
Right. I mean, technically, you're actually generating electricity right now by speaking. That could be a power source to power up like an LED or something.
Dang, that would be awesome. Like, if you have something like a volume meter just with your voice. Just piezo.
So you guys have seen that Michael Reeves video where you got to shout at the microwave to turn it on. It's just a sound input turned into a switch. Fair enough. But thinking about it, if you could create enough voltage to run a microcontroller, just like that?
Just by voice?
Yeah, just by voice.
You cannot scream this long to generate this much power.
I think you'd have to have like an on delay, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. You need some capacitor to charge, probably.
Yeah. All right. So what could this be used for? What application?
How about I don't know, how about something to do with the COVID mask that no one seems to be wearing anymore?
Yeah, non-existent.
A taser.
Yeah, when you yell at someone enough, I hate you, blah, 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 shouting, and then all of a sudden, pew!
I had one of those electric squirt guns that you have to shout to activate it. It had a little microphone, and you would yell fire or something. But it turns out that you could just yell anything because all it was doing was just like a noise gate. At a certain volume level, the microphone was generating enough voltage to trigger the transistor.
Imagine screaming "Hocus Pocus" or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I think I resorted to just screaming, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you," every time I wanted to fire it. It was funnier that way.
That's cool. That's cool.
That's funny.
But I also got tired of screaming, so plus it kind of gives away the fact that you're shooting. You know, if you're having a little squirt gun fight and you yell, then people just like move because they know you're firing. So I added a switch to it so I could just stealth fire. The cool part was that it had an actual electric water pump, so you know, you didn't have to like sit there pumping the thing to recharge it.
All right.
Kind of miss playing with squirt guns. I mean, I say that, but like it's not been that long since I played with one.
Talking of toys and stuff, I very proudly own a Nerf gun.
Heavily modified?
No, it's just a basic Maverick 6-shooter single action.
Mavericks are basic.
Yeah, right? Well, when you're hovering a drone and you give someone a Nerf gun, what are they going to do? It turns out it makes a cool video.
Like a video of someone trying to shoot your drone?
Yeah.
Like from the perspective of the drone?
Yes. I suppose you could do both if you had like a little, I don't know, an Insta 360 Go on top of the Nerf gun.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Have a little Nerf battle. I mean, I kind of figured every drone toy made today would have a little Nerf blaster on it.
Got it. Thinking
So
about
I like
it,
those laser tag modules they've been making for it. Definitely want to play with that sometime.
yo, those are cool. So you've got a little IR beam at the front coming out, and you obviously activate it with a momentary or something. You're flying along, the other dude's just hovering. You shoot him, and like kind of, I don't know how to.
Well, and
describe
they're automated too, so like you don't even get to fire. You don't get to press a button on the controller and actually shoot. It's always firing, and all that you're doing is you're just flying up behind them. You get in range, it fires, and then that does it. I would much rather map a actual button on my remote, so I actually had to fire.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But like I was thinking, it's got to be an easy one to build. Like get like the smallest Arduino board you can, some LEDs, an infrared LED, you know, IR receiver and transmitter kind of setup.
I do have this IR sensor laying around.
And maybe actually add some telemetry to it, like, you know, actually add an input so that, you know, there's actually some like feedback in this. Because this system just bolts on, you know, the quad doesn't know it exists. It's not integrated in any way.
Right.
But I did see one for the planes where it actually adds a bit of, it adds some kind of turbulence to your servo control so that your plane's actually going to shake a bit when you get hit.
I can imagine you set it to like a servo wobble. So you know what I mean? So
yeah.
Just every adjustable surface just like wiggles for a predetermined set amount of time.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like what it was set up for. I don't know what the equivalent on a quad would be. Maybe it just like turns off all your filters for a minute. I mean, you'd have to be doing this willingly. I would think it would make sense to have, you know, to have a quad dedicated for this use, like the Cinewhoops, where it's got a nice big foam thing surrounding, so you don't have to worry about it breaking.
The only thing that I can think of that wouldn't mess somebody up too much while doing that is when you get shot, the quad makes it a 50% throttle limit. So you can still hover and still get out of situations, but your throttle is way reduced. That's
Yeah.
the only way I've thought.
Yeah, actually, that would make sense. The hardest part, of course, is actually having, making any friends locally that fly, and then finding enough of them willing to, drop $50 on the IR setup. But it would be fun to play.
By the way, I found a solution how the microphone does not sound too completely shitty. Like if you put the piezo inside one of these masks, it actually sounds okay. You can actually understand anything.
I'm interested.
You'll have to demonstrate, prove your theory.
Before-
Now I'm just in the mask and my microphone is completely deactivated.
Oh, that actually sounds pretty good. That's cool.
I know, right? I mean, does not sound too bad. But
You
I
have to say,
stuff like really loud.
You have to say, Luke, I am your father.
Yeah.
I am your father.
That's great.
Yeah. Only downside is breathing sounds really loud. But maybe it's just me.
It's turned into the FPV ASMR stream.
That always seems to happen.
Maybe you get less noise if the filters are on. Haha. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. But it does not sound too bad.
I've heard worse mics in Discord, to be honest.
Yeah, I had one dude in my online classes last year who actually managed to get audio feedback without an audio interface. Like he just, I don't know how. I cannot explain how he managed to do that, but he had actually really bad audio feedback. And so he was just always on mute, except when he was talking. I mean, how do you do that? Even with a laptop microphone and a laptop speaker, there's still something that will prevent your audio from causing feedback.
Maybe he was just doing it on purpose to be an ass.
Maybe. Who knows? I will never see him again, so I don't care.
That's the spirit.
So, Boot, I wanted to ask, what motors are you using on that?
Say that again?
What motors are you using on that?
They're HGLC 1202.5, 8000 kV.
It also works from the outside, you know?
Pretty good.
Now it's on the outside. And now it even sounds like, I don't know.
You ever like you're trying to build something and there's like the kid in the corner screaming, making all these weird noises? You're killing me.
You can also apply some stupid effects. I don't know, because I have the mic going into my sampler. So let's try something even worse, like this, you know? Yeah.
Oh, thinking about it, can you use that underwater?
Underwater.
Yeah,
Let's try it out.
That would
it
be.
actually is. Because I'm thinking about it, and the actual voltages that are generated by this are not enough to jump over pure water. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Maybe salt water,
I mean,
But
if you've got a scuba diving mask on, like, your mouth is around the thing. You're not thinking about speaking while you're down there, They do have some full face masks, which are not very popular because you can have gas buildup inside of it and suffocate. They do have some that actually have mics built in, but sounds pretty bad. And then if you're down real deep, you're on the other gases, so helium, you're not going to have ability to speak very well. So, video transmitter. Let's see if I. Can't hear you at all. That's okay.
Maybe like this. Video, Let's go. So we wanted to try that underwater, That's, let me get a glass of water.
Only if you're willing to do it. I mean...
No, let's not have you choke in your...
No, I definitely will not put my mask with myself underwater. I will just drop the mic in the water and then speak to the glass.
That will actually work to some degree, depending how much water it's under.
Yeah, let's try that.
Hashtag staring and intensifies.
Well, I don't usually just do the random live streams, but since I was already streaming in the Community Treehouse Discord, I figured I might as well jump over and, put this on my channel.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'll tell you what, Google really screws you when you don't put up enough stuff. Take a couple of weeks off from streaming and suddenly you get like very, very bad placement. So, nice background. Are you on a green screen right now?
I am, yes. A terrible one, but yes.
Yeah, they're all kind of terrible in their own way. But it's fun anyway, so
Oh, the experiment's starting.
The experiment is starting. Let's try this.
A German doing an experiment. What could go wrong?
Okay.
I can hear some grounding out noises.
From outside the glass. Interesting.
Do you think I'll have any problems if I route the video wires under the flight controller?
As long as they are twisted and one diameter width away from the processor, you should be fine. Of the wire, by the way.
I'd probably sit right against the FETs on here. I'll go over.
Player 2, that works surprisingly well. Yeah, small amount of grounding, as expected. That's funny, that.
Maybe you could fill the glasses to different amounts and do like the singing glasses, where you
Pling, pling.
do your finger on the rim of it to make the it picks up pretty good. That's a lot louder.
Yeah. Also, it holds the resonance in the water as well.
Maybe different objects may make different sounds.
I don't think you should do it, but I'm going to do a hypothesis here. If you were to gradually increase the amount of salinity in the water, would it ground more because it's...
Oh, it definitely would. Definitely would.
You mean like I should put salt in the water?
No, don't.
Yeah, don't do it. There we go.
I mean, it's not my only piezo I have, so.
Well, I'm gonna have to say that it's making it very difficult to focus, and we should move on to other things.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a plan. I thought this was a drone stream, so let's.
Yeah, what happened to the drone?
I lost focus, surprisingly, right? So,
the motors that I chose with my one are the Mamba F1103 11,000 kV.
I will now empty my glass and dry the piezo. Be right back.
All right, man.
11,000 kV.
Yeah, I am going to try the 1S setup properly with the HDLRC flight controller all-in-one thing and the video transmitter, the one that's like diagonal. I am going to try it with that. But the camera, I really want it to be a Foxy, a toothless.
And that's not. Is that one of the the micro size that will fit in there, or is it one of the bigger ones?
No, it is one of the smaller ones. It will fit. The only problem is it's like a gram heavier, which isn't so bad. But the whole point of this thing is every gram matters.
Yeah, I mean, the whole voltage problem. I mean, might as well just make it a 2S, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of why I kind of gave up on the 1S build of it. Is I had bought these parts basically to build that thing, and just decided to go ahead and get myself a carbon fiber frame for it. And this is the one I ended up choosing because it was cheap and quick to get. But I also figured that if it can handle the weight okay, I will run a 2S Li-ion pack on 3,000 milliamp, or even a higher capacity Li-ions, since this thing's not going to draw a lot of amps.
Yeah.
But I've got the VTC 6s, which are 3,000 milliamp. Figured I'd run that as a 2S. Should be able to handle the weight okay. I've already done it before when I was running the Crux flight controller, this thing which only did 6 amp per motor, and only was 2S max. And yeah, it kind of worked. It kind of flew, but the flight controller kept overheating. The FETs were overheating. Now I've got 20 amp capable. So I figure that, it'll probably kind of work. I don't know. It's all just a kind of a guessing game anyway.
Yeah. So the idea is it's like this on top, right? It sits on top. Well, if you go 2S, would you rather have 2 central on top, or would you go top and bottom?
I would make it a wider frame and
would you make
do them side by side. because I've got, I was looking for it, I think I've got it sitting around here. I have the battery holder that is side by side. You know, I've got the single holders, but then I also have the dual that's side by side, and that's actually pretty structurally sound. So, you know, making that your, you know, the main structure of the frame, I think would be pretty good. And going wider, you're just giving it more stability, just spreading those arms out a bit farther. And then you can mount all your stuff underneath of it.
That makes sense.
I was also thinking of just stacking the batteries on top of each other. Not even using those holders, but just, you know, like use a spot welder and make your own packs. I got one of these little battery powered spot welders. It's actually got pretty good little circuitry in it. Works pretty decent.
I've been looking for one of them. Hey, send me a link after the show.
Yeah. This one's pretty okay. It's got basically a RC hobby, like just a cheap LiPo pouch inside of it. So it's got its own battery inside. All right, what's next here? Got video and then T1. So I need.
By the way, I found, or I ripped apart a Dell notebook keyboard to get this point.
I have the little pointer out of it.
Yeah, and it has 4-pin connector. So
right. But since you don't have the circuit board for it,
yeah,
you're gonna need to hook up like an Arduino, and you know, it's just gonna give you like a variable resistor in 4 directions.
If the 4 pins are have 2 pins for voltage, and which voltage, or if there are no voltage pins and it's just all like for analog signal.
I mean, it's probably got one wire to send a voltage into it, right? Because you got to be able to read something. So you got to have something coming into it, and then adjust the resistance on it. Nice shirt.
But now I have one of these, and yeah, let's see if that works. But like, this is just a small detail of what I want to build. But yeah, I don't want any other input solutions because I actually like track points, and it kind of prevents anyone else from using it because no one else is using track points. I don't think I ever met a person who actually uses this thing.
I mean, you always used them as an emergency, you know. It's like, oh crap, I have no other option, so I'll use the track point. The problem I have with it is just it's slow. It's just a really slow input because you're just dragging the thing across and it slowly moves. You know, if it wasn't for the slow speed, I think they'd be okay.
The more pressure you put on them, the faster they get.
Is that how they work?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's how they're supposed to work.
Right.
My experience is that they actually do work like this. But I don't think I ever used the ones from Dell because I got this from my new workplace that I'm working at for the past couple months. And the old workplace, they use Lenovo laptops, and yeah, the Lenovo track point is like the Lenovo track point. Like,
yeah, it's the one that everybody copied because I think they were probably first or close to it.
I think so.
Although they don't work very good.
My first notebook had a point as well, but it was from Hashimoto.
So, you said you recovered that from a laptop.
Yeah.
What do you guys do with your definitely known to be broken circuit boards? PCBs and components. If you know they're dead, what do you do with them?
Good question. Depends, I'd say. I mean, if it's still the whole thing, you could try to fix it if you know what's right.
I mean, from my experience working IT, being kind of the IT department, broken laptops are just replacement parts. If it's that kind of a thing that you could actually fix, there's plenty of them that are not worth, and plenty of them that are just, the style where everything is glued together and you're not going to be able to actually fix it. But if it's a ThinkPad or a Dell, then probably all of the parts can be swapped out without too much trouble. Keep a stack of them and maybe get around to swapping a few parts and getting a few of them up and running again. Usually not worth the time. Depends if you're on salary or getting paid by the hour,
All right. I'll tell you what I did with mine. I got a collection of laptops, Xboxes, the likes, and I just broke them down to PCBs, and I made a resin table. So,
nice.
Put the boards in,
Table.
cast them in resin. Yeah, looked really neat. Really neat.
But and they have that.
Sorry.
A picture or something you could show us?
I'll get you one later. It's downstairs.
Covered in paraphernalia.
The keyboard I got that from was actually like a spare part donor, where I took some keys because I had a user walking in like, oh, my D is dead and not working and falling off. And I was like, we have this dead notebook here. Let's remove the keyboard and use it as a spare part donor.
Right.
Yeah, but for Dell notebooks, removing the keyboard is unnecessarily complicated. Like, you have to remove everything. The keyboard is covered under the...
I know, it's the one thing that you would think you'd want to be able to replace easily because it's the one thing that's broken constantly and is like, a top surface item. The ones I really dislike is when it's one unibody piece. The keyboard is the top half of the laptop. I mean, at that point, if you're going to rebuild it to that extent, you might as well just buy another computer. You can't pay me enough to do one of those rebuilds,
It's actually a real thing. Coming from engineering myself, I know there's an expression we use called first in, last out. And it refers to the design of somebody's put something in that requires everything else to be taken out. And it's being phased out, but you still see it around the place. Like last night, a coffee machine that I was fixing downstairs. It is like, to get to the part that I wanted out, I had to take the whole lid off and shit. Yeah. It's just a thing. Everything from coffee machines to laptops to cars.
Yeah, mostly it's for MacBooks, I think.
Yeah, so I've got an 86 Pontiac Fiero GT. Great car. It's fun. I put a lot of time and money into it, restoring it, and it's my daily driver. At least it is now. And to replace things like, say, the alternator, the intention with it was that you would take it to a dealership, they put it on a lift, and they dropped the entire rear assembly, which includes the motor, the pumpkin, the transmission, everything, all as one piece, the rear suspension, all of it. One piece, everything would drop out. You could replace anything and reinstall the entire rear half of the car all within a couple hours. That was how it was designed. Brilliant idea. How is someone at home supposed to remove the whole back half of a car and put it back in 3 hours? So it's like, so to remove the alternator is just this massive undertaking. I just cut out the trunk. I just took a Sawzall and removed the whole bottom half of the trunk. And then I added a metal plate to the shelf of the trunk. Basically, the lower half was to put a golf bag, set of golf clubs in the car. So I removed that whole bottom section, riveted in a new metal plate, and now I've got access to all of these parts that before were just completely inaccessible without removing just massive amounts of stuff. Dropping the whole engine, for instance, to get to some of the things. Yeah, that kind of designing needs to never, that needs to never come back. It's just terrible.
All I can think of is the right to repair movement, and on how are you going to take like a whole car apart or a whole laptop apart to fix it yourself? It's not reasonable.
Well, that's the thing. So even if you have the right to do it and you have the right to hack the firmware and totally just screw with it, it doesn't mean you actually will know how to. And if you make something sufficiently complex, you'll never have a chance in hell of doing it. So sure, right to repair will probably lead to everyone just going, all right, let's make this so hard that they couldn't do it if they want to, which is going to actually make it worse for everybody.
Didn't think of it like that. Yeah.
I mean, Apple has removed the authorization, so there are no more like Apple repair techs anymore. You can't get certified. You can't get the tools. You can't get the whatever firmware reset shit you need for when you swap out the screen with the Touch ID on it and all that stuff. If you want to repair your Apple product, you have to take it to Apple now. Well, technically, sure, you could do it if you had the tools, but you don't. I mean, what are you going to do? You can't force them to give you their proprietary software and stuff.
So every component has a serial.
I think the iPhone 12 is just like a screen, the tag that's inside, and the rest is glue. You cannot open iPhone 12. It's just completely...
Well, it's already that way. When you want to replace the broken glass on the back of an iPhone now, they put it in a jig and then hit it with a laser, and the laser actually etches out the adhesive, and then the glass can be removed and a new one put on. It takes a fucking laser to repair an iPhone. It's the only method. I mean, how's that for ridiculous,
Make sure.
Yeah, Louis Rossman in New York, Bullfrog FPV mentions that guy. Yeah, he's one of the few people left, and even he's kind of done at this point because Apple has, sued him for some of the shit he does. And he's pretty much at the end of what he's capable of doing now. Which is unfortunate, He was one of the good guys. All right. Video transmitter is on, camera's on, motors are on, power lead is on. All that's left is... I think I'm going to go with, I'm just going to go with Tracer because I already have Tracer on my other quad and I don't have to keep switching modules. All right, that's it. I just got to get this thing soldered on and then I can open up Beta FPV and program it.
I'm another step closer to transferring all of the stuff. We'll get there.
Is that what you're doing? You're stealing from one quad to build the other?
Yeah, I'm also excited because this shitty Fly Sky, you know what, you can yeet. That's going. And I'll be upgrading to a nice new Nano Crossfire Nano RX.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I've got sitting around here. I am kind of torn between, do I bother with Tracer or do I just go with Crossfire? It's like, I know TBS is basically phasing out Crossfire, and they've got their big announcement like this Friday. So maybe they're going to announce that they're going to fix the range issues.
I'm excited for whatever comes out.
Look, if the XLRS stuff can manage to do insane range on like 10 milliwatts of power, why can't Tracer? Like, what is it that TBS isn't doing that they could be doing?
Right.
It does kind of make you wonder.
Yeah, they should get some FPV stuff as well. I just seen the
there's some new stuff coming out too, or actually it's out now. Look up the Happy Model XLRS. So it's a new transmitter receiver combo with this open source firmware, and it's really fucking cheap. The receivers are like $12 and the transmitter is like $45, which makes it like a third the cost of all the other systems.
That's actually quite cheap.
And the range is like, what, 30 miles or something, like 40 kilometers?
So that's another question. How far do you guys actually fly?
I usually have been sticking within about 500 feet or so, 600 feet. But it's a lot of shit in between too. Like,
right.
A lot of obstacles in the way. Like,
I'm still at that stage where if I cannot hear my props, I'm kind of scared.
Oh, I definitely can't hear it. This thing is quiet with these, this setup here with these low, flat, wide motors, and it doesn't make much noise until you really punch it,
Wow, I just found a flight controller and on Amazon, and the age recommendation is 186 years. Well, I mean, if you get that old.
Amazon is a terrible, terrible source for anything quad related. Mostly because, it's not legal to sell a lot of this stuff, not strictly legal. So like Amazon stopped carrying most of this shit when their FAA started cracking down.
Mm-hmm.
So how do they get around that all? Do they just set the default as like the minimum, which is legal? You're talking about the flight, the VTX.
Well, right. It's like, like the TBS Tracer. I was watching Joshua Bardwell's stream, and he mentioned something about it and asked him about it. And he's like, well, ground-based VTXs and stuff, if it's a ground-based system, it doesn't fall under the same requirements. So this right here is a ground-based receiver.
Got you. Yeah. So is mine.
Right. Sure, whatever you say, it's like, all right, it's ground-based. I'm definitely not putting this on a quad right now. Do not believe your eyes. They are deceiving you. I love how easy silicone wire strips off. Makes it so nice.
It's the rule when building a quad, you gotta drop an M3. Fuck.
I can do one better. I bought a pack of bolts, and I can't find it. It's like 8,000 of them, 8,000 piece set. I can't find the box.
I have also bought a box of screws and some heat inserts. I think also M3, but it's not for FPV, but for my Cyberdeck that I'm still thinking about how I should build it. I know what I will put inside, but I'm still not fully sure about the form factor and some details, and I still don't have a 3D model of what I want to build.
Well, you know, we get asked that question a lot. Like, what do you use it for? What does it do? It's like, well, you know, it does the exact same thing that every other computer on the planet does, whatever you want it to, you know, as much as your imagination can go, which is pretty limited for a lot of people. I don't know, mine's just really a test platform for every time I get a new single board computer or something. I just want to have a really quick, easy way to fire it up. You know, just have a screen and a battery, a power supply, have everything ready to go. So I don't have to screw around with it, have a big mess of wires on my desk. There's already enough stuff on here.
All right, but I think I'm actually going to drop off now because it's 1:20 and yeah, I think I should get some rest.
Gotta sleep at some point, right?
Yeah. Work is not the place to sleep.
Depends on your job, but
Also true.
you definitely want to keep the job so you can afford the hobbies.
If you're a security guard, then sleeping while at work is like the cliche. Next to reading newspaper or something.
Watching a black and white television.
Yeah, something like
Well, thanks for jumping in and staying up late with us.
Yeah, it's not too late. I think.
It was definitely nice meeting you, though, Player 2.
Thanks. It was great meeting you too.
All right. Catch you later.
Yeah. See ya. Bye.
So, Boot, I don't know if I'm allowed to show this on YouTube, but a little drone porn for you.
It's like it looks like a dead animal that's been deboned.
Just hang it up.
Yeah, you could like hang that on the wall behind you. You know, it's the trophy. So what do you have there? What's your motors, ESC? What's your setup?
So, in the 4-inch that I'm taking it out of, it had 2306 2400 kV motors. The eco ones, the max ones, just cheap, you know, cheerful.
I've got a set of these right here.
Yep,
That's something. Pretty much the same one. What do we got? The 2207 1700 kVs.
Ooh. So you went with a little lower kV, have the durability of the 6S region.
Yeah, that was my alternate. So I got these iFlight motors because I had some Amazon credit, and I was like, well, let's try these things. On paper, it looked like they would draw significantly lower amps than than like a 2307 version of the iFlight motor, and it does. I can cruise on this thing at 6 amps, so just 1.5 amps per motor, and I can just cruise along, no problem.
Are they the red tops?
I don't know what that is.
The top of the bell is red. The rest is black.
No.
Oh, so
No, this is the 2604.
Oh, the
iFlights. Are you talking about the E?
No,
the Emax?
No, I was talking
no, these are the 2604. They're made for the 7-inch or 8 or 9-inch props, but I stuck it on the 5-inch.
Right.
Really low amps though, and definitely slower. Like definitely not as much, punch out. But whatever. Full throttle, full punch at 6S will draw 90 amps. That's where it stops at, is 90 amps. I had the Nazgul 5, which was, I think, 2307s or 2406s. And that thing would punch out and draw 130 amps at full throttle. And was, quite a bit faster too. But, that's a lot more amps, and it would hover at like 12 to 15 amps. So my flight times were kind of shit in comparison.
No, I get that. That it probably puts into perspective. My racer does 240 amps on a pull.
240?
Yeah.
How? Like
it's 60 a motor, and then plus peak, whatever that is.
What's the motors that are on that thing?
2207 2450 kV with a 60 amp Mamba. So they're good. They're punchy, but you don't get the efficiency. It's just not there. You could like, it runs hard for 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes if you have a little easy break in the middle. But
what kind of motors are you, battery pack are you on it?
Oh, that's
like a 1500.
Yeah, so that's a funny story actually. I was going through Amazon and I found these. Oh God, they're horrific. Please don't buy them.
The China line?
They are made of Chinesium. They're called Sun Padao batteries. 6S 1100s. These ones. They're rated for 120C. Quotation marks. You got to remember that they're making that up. But I don't know how accurate I did the whole calibration with it, like JB did, and it seems to be accurate-ish. So yeah, when it says 240, okay, that's a lot.
I mean, if those batteries can really drop 240, there's no way, right?
Not for like more than 3 seconds even. Yeah. I do believe though they're rewrapped Turnigy batteries, so
not very good.
I don't know. They're really fucking cheap. Really cheap. You get like a two back for $40, something like that. Yeah, so the whole amp draw with the motors, you've definitely got the most efficient ones.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. The weight is identical to the 2307s from iFlight. Obviously, the motor bell is wider. I've already bent one to shit. Barely tapped something, but it sticks out so far, right? It's 26 millimeters wide, so it sticks out quite a bit. So I printed up these little motor guards. They're a little extra wide, so that hopefully I won't hit the motor again. They seem to work quite well today. I've already snapped off most of the horns that I put on them. Got none left here. One. This is the only one left that I have 2 horns left on. I was having trouble with PTG though, so I just printed these in PLA out of desperation. I figured the horns would break off, and hey, they did.
How much infill did you do on that PLA?
Not too much, probably 20% or 15%, but then quite a lot of perimeters. And I'm running a 0.8 millimeter nozzle.
So through testing that I've done with a lot of PLA, if you have the infill quite low on a skid or something on the bottom of your drone, it actually crushes rather than scrapes away. Like TPU, you'll get this like, you know, eraser kind of situation where it just like grinds down, and PLA doesn't kind of it just crushes and chips, you know.
Yeah, this one has I think I had too low of a I think I was under extruding, because it seems that some of the pieces have kind of peeled away, like the perimeters were slightly, they weren't really fused together very well. So I need to increase the overlap or increase the percentage.
So as your print head's going along, it's like two semicircles instead of like a flat squish together.
Right, exactly.
Right.
They're staying, the lines are staying separated slightly.
Yeah.
When the horn on it was peeling off, I noticed that it kind of peeled out a strip of it. But I printed them quick, and I just was like, I'm about to fly. I don't want to destroy another motor. So, you know, none of my other filaments were working. So I just switched it over to PLA real quick and managed to get them done before I flew.
That's sweet. There comes a point in which like durability versus ease of print, cost, time, you know, you all weigh it up, and it's like, you know what? I'll just print PLA. It's 2 cents. It's done in 15 minutes. Smack it on, done.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is like these horns, that's not really working. You know, I figured they'd snap off, and they do. They snap off on first hit, but they did protect my motors today. And I got to go fly around and bash it around and dive some tree gaps, which I never really do because I don't want to break anything. And, you know, it was all right. I still have, still 4 of the horns left on. I can tell which side of the thing I hit more than the other, you know, at the end of the day. I definitely seem to bank a certain way when I'm about to crash, which I really need to stop that habit, because I keep hitting the same motor, right, left motor. It's like right, left motor every freaking time. Just slam that thing.
A little tip when you think you're going to crash, set your momentary to angle. And then say it's not the brake on a DJI drone, but, you know, it'll level you off, and sometimes it'll save you. That's what I've done. You know,
I want to do that. I need to do the remapping so that I can free up some channels. So I've got Tracer running in 8-channel mode. I don't have enough channels left to have the, you know, the level flight mode on there. There's a video on how to do it where you like map it so it's all on one channel to free up the other channels for other shit. Yeah. Do you know how to do that?
I do, yes. Also, there is an even easier way, and that's you've got 3 position switches. Use them. You know, on one of my switches, it's like angle mode, and I think at the moment I've got acro trainer and air mode.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't have my controller actually set up properly because, well, it's like each position on the switch is another channel.
Oh. Ooh.
So like right now I've got it set up where one, you know, I've got the arming switch, and then to have a backup so I don't accidentally arm while I'm doing shit. Another one of the switches has to be in a certain position for the arming switch to work. So that way I can turn off 2 toggles.
Right.
And then on the other side, I've got one for the buzzer, which I don't actually have a buzzer installed. It just buzzes the motors to make a little noise. and then one is set up for turtle, and then obviously the rest is for steering it, and that's all 8 channels. So I definitely don't have it set up right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Out of the 4 extra channels that you get, apart from the controls of the aircraft, you should be able to do about 12 different things, depending on what you set, obviously.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what I screwed up on that. It would be nice to get that fixed, though, because I don't want to be in the 12-channel mode, because then you got more latency. That's the whole point of Tracer.
You do. However, if you're not actually going that far, you're still going to be, and say like you'd set it to the higher latency, you'd still be able to get used to it and also have that range as well on lower milliwatts. But yeah, no, I see what you're saying though.
On Tracer, if you're in 12-channel mode, you're saying that has more range?
No, more channels. Sorry.
Right. No, I just gotta not be lazy and actually set the thing up properly. All right, let's see here. The home stretch. 4 more wires to solder, and then it's just a matter of configuring it. How's your transplant going over there?
Motor 1 has been removed. That part of Rick and Morty where he goes, tiny surgeon, passes, tiny scalpel.
I've been liking the new season. I think they're it's good so far.
You like it?
I mean, the
trippy, right?
Yeah, the last episode, the episode 2, was a little odd. I mean, it had that kind of feeling of like a Family Guy episode where they keep doing the same joke for too long. But it was still kind of a trip.
It was a trip, huh?
I thought the one before it was better, though. It's just funny. You know, just funny. Not too much referencing its own shit. You know, it shows they get too hung up on just referencing their old jokes. Like, I can't really watch like Family Guy anymore or Simpsons. It's just the same thing every time.
Right. I think I've watched every Family Guy episode like 4 times.
You know what I do like, though, is Family Guy. That one's still, I think, kind of original. I mean, American Dad. That's what I meant to say.
Good morning, USA. Probably shouldn't be desoldering on my lap, but
I guess it depends. The tip of this soldering iron is starting to glow orange. I think I need to turn down the temperature a little. Just set that to 420 degrees Celsius. That's a good one. Welcome back, Blasto. Feel free to join in if you want. I posted the stream invite to the mods channel. All right. Channel 1, channel 2. Ah, shit. I can't remember. On Tracer, is channel 1 TX or RX?
ooh. that do be a good question.
Okay. Channel 1 is RX, I think, according to this.
So excuse me for one moment.
All right, we got, so channel 1 is RX, and RX goes to TX. And that will be green wire to T2, hopefully. We'll know pretty quick if that was it.
Really? Ooh. That moment when you get a solder blob on your little fets. I really like building, though. It's therapeutic.
Yeah, you know, I used to always buy those electronics kits when I was younger. You know, they rarely ever built anything that was worth building, but that wasn't the point of it. It was just to, you know, sit down with a soldering iron and make something. Although I did enjoy it when it was like an FM transmitter, that kind of project. Those were always difficult to get tuned up, though.
All right. I have released the ESC.
Just try and keep the magic smoke from releasing. Okay. Tracer installed. No bridged solder pads. Wires look good.
You did the whole multimeter check before you do? Oh.
Me?
Living life on the edge, all right.
Living life on the, I bought these from Amazon and I'll return it if I need to. Yeah, I don't know. What would be a good check? What would be on your list of shit to check before you put power to this thing?
Definitely the power leads. I want to hear that half-a-second beep and then nothing.
Well, somewhere I have a smoke stopper. I'll have to check my desk and my bag. So I do use that when I'm building something new. It's kind of dumb not to when you have one, you know?
You know what? I've built quads now. No, seven quads for myself. And all of them I've built without a smoke stopper. And then I got the smoke stopper, and then I never built any.
I'll tell you why I really like it. It has a power switch on it, which means I can plug everything in and then use the power switch on the smoke stopper to actually turn it on and off, which is really handy when you're trying to bind a fucking tracer receiver and you have to keep power cycling it while you're pressing the button to get it into the like fail-safe mode so you can actually, but having the power switch is nice too, just being able to turn it on and off, or like so the VTX doesn't sit there burning up. I got that Rush Tank VTX on my 5-inch, and that thing gets hot. It's hot enough that it like really scorches your fingers when you're working on stuff while it's powered on.
Yeah, my VTX set on it. Blah blah blah. The VTX also an effective hand warmer.
Smoke stopper, where are you? Never seem to have it when I need it. I might have to play with this thing again someday. This is a TBS Crossfire Diversity receiver. Seemed to be DOA, but it might be worth playing with again, seeing if I can, figure out something with the firmware, some other glitch that it had. But
unusual for a Cross D to come dead.
Yeah, I mean, that was the best we could figure out, because as soon as I soldered up another receiver directly in its place, everything worked perfectly. There was absolutely no problem. So, like, it wasn't the build, it wasn't the flight controller, it wasn't anything else. As soon as I swapped it out, everything worked.
Bam, it worked.
I don't know. This was also from Amazon, and they just refunded me for it. I guess I wasn't the first one to complain that this board from that seller was dead on arrival.
Oh.
So I also just haven't tried it again.
See, everybody should have one of these. It's just a little box, little segregated box full of M2 and
Yeah,
M3.
I've got a few of them, but the one I need is the one I can't find, and of course, is the one that's got like 8,000 parts in it.
Of course.
Let's see. Do I have my smoke stopper? What's funny is when I was using the smoke stopper the other day, I forgot to remove it. There we go. I forgot to remove it when I went to test my motors. And, hey, the thing works. Man, it fired off, and
you were like, why is my quad not working?
Yeah, for a moment. I mean, I realized it pretty quick. I was like, oh, right, smoke stopper. But there was that brief moment of, thinking that I had totally screwed something up. This thing got hot, man. These little diodes or resistors, whatever it is on here, they got cooking. Yeah. Handy little thing, though. You can set the current threshold on this one, and you can set the sensitivity level, which is like how much time it takes to trigger. It's a pretty cool little board. And it's got the XT30s on it, which is also nice. Well, shit. I think that's all I need to do to test this thing out.
Is the flight controller already set up?
Not at all.
Ooh. Then we need to go through beta flight. Oh, what are you putting on it? That's the question.
Oh, yeah, beta flight. I mean,
all right.
I don't have time for anything else.
Experimental 4.3, maybe?
4.3 isn't experimental.
Is it
been out for months?
Are you sure about that? Or is my flight controller just not up on that?
I don't know. I mean, that's what I've been running since I got back into FPV.
Where is my flight controller?
All right, beta flight. Let's see. I need a charged 2S pack. I think this thing is charged. Yeah, probably is. All right, let's see if we get any of that magic smoke.
Come on.
Yeah, that didn't sound quite right.
I heard startup tones.
Let's try that one more time. Yeah, all right, because it's just playing through the motors. There's no props on it, so it sounds a little...
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if it's COM port 1. Nope. COM 3. Nope. And I'm not plugged into the USB port. I wish I could say that was the first time I've done that, but
Right.
what do I have? USB, micro USB. And now I have another one of these around here. USBs. You know, pretty much just got done switching over to USB-C for everything. Absolutely everything. Oh, son of a bitch. Bleeding profusely from my arm.
What have you done?
Probably dragged my arm across the soldering iron again. But I did not feel it at all.
I don't know, you're not safe to be left alone.
I have never made such a claim in my life. Oh well, I'll use the USB port cable from my keyboard. I don't need to type anything, right? Except for maybe some command line prompt stuff.
I found out why. Yeah, so this flight controller doesn't support 4.3, so that's why it's on 4.2.9, and I'm like, yeah, get the latest version. That's why.
Caffeine. All right, let's see what this thing looks like. Forward. Yes. All right, the gyro is pointing the right way. I didn't screw that up.
Always a good sign.
That is a great sign. Let's see if we can make this smoke stopper kick in.
Was that it?
Yeah, with all four motors, it kicked in.
Are they all spinning the right way?
This one's having some troubles. Yeah, this one's just a little bent. These are used motors. I've got some new ones here. I would have 4 brand new motors to put on this thing, but unfortunately, RDQ only sent me 3 when I bought 4.
Convenient.
And they couldn't send me a replacement because they didn't have any more in stock, which is like, go figure. That's why you only sent me 3. But I had bought 4 more from Get FPV. So I've got 7 motors. So at least I've got 3 spares currently. All right, motors are spinning. Direction, I can't imagine it's going to be the correct. Well, let's see here. There we go. Motor 1 is supposed to be going. This is set for props in, so let's just start with setting to props out.
Well, Boot, I'm going to leave you to set up that beta flight. It is getting late for me, and it's been a very nice time hanging out and talking to you.
Yeah, thanks for joining in, and we'll see you Sunday.
Of course you will. All right.
All right, later, guys. And I think I'm going to sign off here, too, because this is going to be the part where I start swearing a lot. And, you know, don't want to put that on YouTube. So later, and for anyone still watching, why? Why are you still here?
All right.
See ya.